Thank you for watching and welcome back. This month we're talking about Stephen King's The Stand, which was a bit of a beast to get through in a month. But I'm really glad that I did. And as per usual, I have 50 questions. I've selected 4 at random. The first one being, number 6. How realistic are the characters? I would say that they were fairly realistic. I mean, there is a few things that I do have issue with, mainly with the ending of the book, which I don't want to spoil. And other than that, it's pretty good. I really did like Lloyd Harrod. He seemed like a very real character to me. As did Stu Redman and Nick Andros. Tom Collin, kind of. I really liked him, though. Tom Collin is my favorite character. Yeah. Would you want to meet them? Well, yes and no. Some of them I really would. I'd like to meet Stu Redman, have a beer with him. The same with Glenn Bateman and Ralph for sure. I would also like to meet Tom Cullen. Nick Andrews would be fun to have met. You know, if these fictional characters were real. But there is a slew of characters I wouldn't want to meet, with the chiefly being Harold and the Trash Can Man. Yeah, those two at the top of the list. They don't even beat the Walking Dude. 16. Do you feel this has autobiographical elements? Nope. Nope. I really don't see much room for them to be in here, as this is a book about the end of the world mostly, and the rebuilding of civilization, and ultimately the battle between good and evil. But I guess you could try to infer something if you really stretched. 21. What other books have you read that can be compared to this one? Honestly, not a lot. I actually kind of ran this through my brain a little bit, and the closest thing I could come up to is the Hunger Games series, as they're both in an dystopian world, they both feature large casts, and they have 2 opposing groups fighting for control. But that's where their simulators really end. With the large cast in The Stand here, you revolve through them, you see everything from everyone's point of view, while with the Hunger Games you were locked just into Katniss's point of view. So sadly, that's where the comparisons end, and other than that, I couldn't really think of anything that stands close to The Stand. 45. Are the characters' actions... 45. Are the characters' actions part of free will or destiny? Actually, a mixture of the two, as everyone in The Stand survives the super flu. If you've read this book, you know that. But they make a big standing point that they still have free will. They're given the knowledge through Mother Abigail of what to do, and it was their choice to either do it or not. But I have to actually say destiny, because they really didn't have an option. It was either do this or everyone dies and evil wins, and that's really not a choice. Well, at least in my opinion. Alright, some other little things. I just want to talk about the book. I really did like it when I read it back in junior high, and I still really liked it this time around. When I was looking into reading this unabridged version, I had read that Stephen King, when he edited it down for the original, felt the only part that was marred was Trash Can's journey through America. I have to disagree with that, as I was cruising through this until I hit Trash Can Man's chapters, and it just ground to a halt. He made the character less sympathetic to me for some reason, and those chapters in particular were incredibly dry, to the point where I almost needed a lozenge and a glass of water to get through them. Also, that said, this time around I've related to a character that I didn't relate to the first time, which in hindsight I find really strange, and that's Harold Lauder. For awkward reasons, as he described himself in many ways that I viewed myself as I grew up. Like, he was awkward, unpopular, pimply, out of shape. Fortunately, that's where we differ, as he became a sociopath, and I didn't. I think I won on that one. I want to touch on the miniseries for a brief second, as I watched it heavily as a child, and is what spurred me to read the book originally back in high school. And that's, the casting was pretty spot on. a lot of the characters I no longer associate with the roles when I read, and if I did, they quickly got dissipated, except for a couple who stuck with me the whole novel. And that was Tom Cullen, Nick Andrews, Lloyd Harrod, Trash Can Man. All held true the whole book. Ralph Bretner too. The actors that played those characters did such a great job that they really did embody those characters, and I felt that they were perhaps the strongest parts looking back of the miniseries, and I feel those characters are the strongest parts of the novel. Alright guys, and that's it for this time around, as I'm shooting this early in the morning before I gotta get to work. But as per usual, I'm going to ask you guys a question that I rolled randomly as well off the list to answer down in the questions down below, should you feel like it. And that's, what do you feel that the title of the book has to do with the book itself? This is going to be an overly easy question, and I would be surprised if someone actually answered this. Alright guys, until next month, I'll see you then, and next month I'll be talking about Stephen King's The Mist, as I need something a little lighter this time around.